Wanted to drop you guys a quick video of the Phantom Shogun Grove. I was recently able to get a 5-star soul for my Gnarlhorn, so I was motivated to go ahead and make the Phantom Shogun a 25 Gnarlhorn team. I've known about the Gnarlhorn for a while. I've been telling you guys about the Gnarlhorn for a while. He's a really good tank for this, the best tank for this. And he's a rare, which makes it a lot easier to get higher awakenings on him, which is, you know, the thing about Shogun. So, as you can see, this is the team that I created. I've got 2 Cold Hearts, I've got a Gnarlhorn, I've got the Mithrala, and a Demetha. So a lot of the budget teams that you're seeing online, like the Nubkex teams, are Gnarlhorn, 2 Cold Hearts, Mithrala, and Paragon, the rare Void, unkillable cheese guy. And instead of Paragon, I'm just using Demetha because I have a 6-star for her. So I have a 6-star for her, and she's really good for this. I tested her out, and it worked perfectly, so I've kept her in. You can see I have really high awakenings on all of these champions. I've been farming the Cold Heart rare souls in the shop for a while now. I just got my 2nd. I also have a 3rd Cold Heart with a 4-star. I just figured get all the rare souls that you can. When you see them pop up in the shop for the good champions, you can use them in the secret rooms, faction wars, Cursed City, and then if they drop new content that they're good at and sometimes better than legendary. So I would recommend you do your twins every day and you buy those rare souls. I know you don't want to waste like the 7 essence on a rare soul, but it is totally worth it to really max out all those rare champions. And you should do the same thing for epic champions, really, too. Legendaries need to be a little bit more picky because they are so expensive, so you want to really wait to boost up the legendaries that you're using every day. Okay, back to this boss. So there is a little bit of RNG for the time right now, but I am at 100%. And this is stage 25. So what's the thing about the Shogun? I'm not going to go through the whole kit. I'm just going to kind of dumb it down. When you attack the boss with a weak hit, it's going to make the shade counter go up. Very simple. If the shade counter gets too high, I think if the shade gets too high, then he uses his massive AoE skill. Somewhere around here. Or no, if the shade counter gets too high, then he'll ignore block damage, unkillable, shields, and all that kind of stuff. So if the shade counter gets to 40, he's going to ignore everything, and he's just going to completely nuke you. And why are we using Gnarlhorn? So Gnarlhorn has an interesting A1 where it cannot weak hit. It also can't strong hit, but it can't weak hit. So when he goes to attack the Shogun, it's not going to bump up the shade counter. Oh, and another fundamental part is every time you attack the Shogun, it drops the shade depending on how many stars you have. So if you don't have any awakenings and you attack the boss, it's not going to drop it any stars. If you have 4 6-star awakened champions, you could use a champion that doesn't have any awakenings because you're still going to be dropping that shade counter down. Alright, the second most important part of this boss is that he will always target the champion that has the highest crit damage. So in theory, he's looking to target your damage dealer, your biggest damage dealer. He's looking to put this protected enfeeble on your champion so that way you're always weak hitting. And you're always bumping up this shade counter. But we're using Gnarlhorn here. Even though he has this protected enfeeble, he still cannot weak hit. Because it's not a passive ability that's getting blocked with this protected block passives. it's actually written into his A1, so he won't weak hit. And I've been doing a lot of testing with this, and I do think that he still does have the 3% universal chance to weak hit like every champion always does in the game. There's always a 3% chance to get resisted, no matter how much accuracy resistance is involved. And I do think that that 3% does apply to his A1, because I've seen him weak hit a couple of times. I've been watching this boss a lot the last couple days, trying to do my teams. I've probably watched like 2 hours of this boss, and I've only seen him do it maybe 5 times, but I think that there's that small 3% chance. And why is he attacking my Gnarlhorn? Well, because I gave my Gnarlhorn a ton of crit damage. He doesn't have any crit rate. He's not built for damage. He's just kind of built for a little bit of survivability. He's got the tiny bit of speed, so that way he does use his A1 a little bit more often to help us keep the shade counter down. And then I gave him 330 crit damage, just random crit damage artifacts that I didn't need anywhere else. So he has more crit damage than my Cold Hearts. My Cold Hearts did have like 350% crit damage each before I was doing this boss, and I dropped them down to 310 just to make sure that they're under the Gnarlhorn, and they're still doing plenty of damage here. Alright, so as we see this fight go on, you see all of our buffs get stripped randomly and replaced with decreased defense and not protected enfeeble. So he is putting enfeeble on your whole team, but it's not protected. The only protected enfeeble that he's putting on is going on to your highest crit damage champion, aka the Gnarlhorn. So that one's protected. You can't remove it. But we'll see it cycle here. He's going to remove all of our buffs and replace it with enfeeble and decreased defense. Which one is it? Yeah, it's this one here. So. Alright, so on his next turn, he's going to strip all of our buffs. He's going to give us the enfeeble and the decreased defense. And then the Mithrala is going to go and cleanse everything right after he does that. And this is a really easy speed tune. You can consider it a speed tune. I stole it from Nubkex. The Mithrala just has to be at 285 speed. That's it. Boom. Very, very simple. Let's go and look at the team here. So this is my clan boss, Demitha. That's why she's so fast. If I wasn't using my clan boss, Demitha, I'd probably want her to be under Mithrala's speed, just to make it a little bit more fine-tuned. Mithrala just at 285, and then you have to set her skills like this, so that way she gets the cleanse going properly. Because it's on a 3-turn, just like the Shogun's skill is, so it'll sync right up. Another thing about the tunes is the Cold Hearts have to be about 205 to like 215 speed. I've been playing with their builds, and I've had them anywhere from 205 to 215, and they've worked. So nothing really too particular, not like tuning a clan boss team. Oh, here, let me move myself out of the way. Yeah, so kind of tuned, anywhere from 205 to 215, and then you just want to build for damage. Their crit damage is actually really low right there. I think I must have messed this up when I was changing speeds. After this video, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna pump her crit damage up to 300 again, and I'm gonna keep it at 205 speed. I think that's why my runs were a little slower than I expected. See, 306, so that's pretty good. And really, you only need a 70% crit rate if you're just going for the Heartseeker. but I figure I might as well get a little bit of extra damage from her A1 if I can to make it a little faster. And then Demitha is taking the place of the Paragon. So Gnarlhorn here, he does have an Unkillable that he'll put on himself. And in most scenarios, this is how they have the AI set up. This is how like Nubkex and everybody has their AI set up. Then they use the Paragon, who also has the Unkillable, but the Paragon can put the Unkillable on anyone. It doesn't have to be on Paragon, so you put the Gnarlhorn in the lead, and then the Paragon will put Unkillable on Gnarlhorn after his Unkillable expires, because it's a 2-turn Unkillable with a 3-turn cooldown, so he has that 1-turn buffer. My Demitha is so fast and so strong that she actually just keeps the Gnarlhorn alive. I don't need to use his Unkillable, and I don't even have her set up for anything. That's kind of the luxury of having a really high awakened champion, is they bring a lot to the table. My initial thought when I put the Demitha in is that she would use her A2 to extend the Gnarlhorn's Unkillable. But then it just happened that she was healing him so much, and she's so fast, and she has the block damage, so she was just keeping him alive, and he didn't need his own Unkillable. So this gives him a couple more A1s, which is going to keep the shade counter down a little bit more. There's one small thing, if you're going to try to build this team, that you need to look at. So first of all, I probably wouldn't try this until you get at least a 3-star on your Gnarlhorn. It's not going to be very hard. Put him in your wish list, get that 2-star, put the 2-star on him, and then wait for the 3-star in the shop. It's going to pop up, and then I would go ahead and do it. And you need Mithrala for this as well. There are a couple other cleansers that you could use, but she's clearly the best, so I would definitely use your Mithrala and try to farm up some souls for her too. DPS, Cold Heart is great. You could use your Gnut, you could use your Krizia, and they don't have to be speed tuned like the Cold Hearts do. They can be any random speed. They're not going to mess up the run too much like a Cold Heart could. I'll explain that in a minute. And yeah, so pretty much this is just the Gnarlhorn Paragon Cheese team, the one that you're going to find all over YouTube. The higher awakenings you have on somebody like your Gnarlhorn, if you had a 6-star on your Gnarlhorn and you had a 6-star on your Mithrala, you could realistically run 2 DPS with 1 or 2 awakenings, or even a Gnut with no awakenings, because he's going to do a lot of damage and he's going to make the run go fast, so that'll also increase your survivability. You could use Armiger. You know, I don't know if you can awaken it. You can't awaken him, can you? No, you can't. Okay, don't use Armiger. But you get the gist. Royal Guard, Husk, anybody who you can put an awakening on, anybody who's going to do some damage. You want max HP damage is going to be the fastest way to kill this guy. So, Cold Heart has a 4-hit A1. So if Cold Heart got the Enfeeble debuff put on her, 1 A1 from her would bump this shade counter up to like 30, just from a singular A1. So 2 Cold Hearts, if they say that Enfeeble that he puts on the whole team didn't get cleansed, and the Cold Hearts both A1'd, you would be at like 60, 70 shade stacks, and he's just going to take a turn and he's going to wipe your whole team. That happened to me a couple times. And if your Cold Heart is too slow, right here, or if she's too fast. If she's too slow or she's too fast, when the boss puts these debuffs out, your Cold Heart is going to move before the Mithrala. So both Cold Hearts move before the Mithrala. Even if just one Cold Heart moves before the Mithrala, it's going to bump these shade stacks up a lot. If one Cold Heart moves, it's going to bump it up to about 40. So if the boss has a lower turn meter, when that happens, you will probably be able to sneak in with your 6-star Awakened champions, knock it down a little bit, and kind of avoid the wipe, But if it happens when he has a high turn meter, it's all over. Again, that is kind of a luxury that you get if you have higher awakened champions. When you have less awakened champions, you have to be a little bit more mindful of your speeds and how everything's tuned. So if you look at the Cold Heart, a flurry of arrows 4 times, that's just going to bump up the shade counter. And you don't really need Arc of Pain, because if you don't have Enfeeble, a flurry of arrows is going to knock down the shade counter. So that is kind of what makes her so good, but a little bit unpredictable if she's not tuned right. All right, let's see if I can get it so the Cold Heart moves before the Mithrala. All right, so next turn he's gonna strip the buffs. So it's kind of close. Oh, see, so she does it right here. He ripped all of our buffs off. He gave us this Enfeeble, you know. I'm not gonna actually attack manually. I'm just gonna turn auto back on because everything's set up properly, so I don't really have to do anything. But watch her use her A1 here. Watch this shade counter. See, Enfeeble, she does 4-time weaked hit on the boss, so very dangerous. You have to definitely be mindful of that. And this is the only time she's gonna do it. So I ran this back a bunch of times, and she only does it sometimes. One time in the whole run. If she did it twice in the run, I would adjust her speed and kind of make it so that she wasn't doing that. But she only does it once, and I've ran probably 100 battles after I got it tuned just to farm some dust, and it was 100% after 100 battles. So. But this is a great way to show everybody kind of what's happening here. So now the Mithrala is going to go, and now we're back in sync. And now she's going to go before both Cold Hearts for the rest of the fight. And this is just, I think, my awakenings and my gear that kind of allows me to tank that high shade counter there for a minute. And now we're back to a more manageable number. So it was this Cold Heart right here, I believe, that attacked out of turn. So I would go, I think this is the 205 speed versus the 27 speed. So I could try to give her 1 more speed and see if that changed anything, or try to give her 2 more speed, but as far as I'm concerned, my runs are working, but that's what I would do if it was broken. I would just, and it takes a lot of silver when you're constantly popping gear around and doing glyphs like that, but sometimes the 1, 2, 3 speed will totally put you out of sync. Well, thanks for watching this video, guys. Definitely start farming your Gnarlhorn soul, because that is going to get you into this Sand Devil. That's going to get you up to the stage 25 instead of farming stage 14. It's going to get you the dust. It's going to get you the big boy potions, so you can start leveling up those accessories. Yep, and again, Mithrala, easy, 285 speed. Cold Hearts if you're going to use them, or just a random DPS. This is a way easier speed tune than a clan boss speed tune. This is like a very rough speed tune. As long as you have high awakened champions, it's actually really easy. Well, see you guys. Thanks for watching.